And we're live. Go, Jordy.
Yeah, sweet. Hey guys, we're here today, Jordan and I, and we're hanging out with Richard Bowles. Richard is kindly come on today just to have a chat with us. Richard's an ultra marathon runner. He's a motivational speaker. In 2012, he ran nearly 3,500 kilometres from Healesville in Victoria to Cooktown in far north Queensland. And to do that, it took him 5 months. So he was running up to 90 kilometres a day. So to put that in perspective, so on some days he was running 2 marathons, which is just unreal.
Huge.
Huge. And do you know what's huger? The fact that it was 5,500 kilometres, not 3,500 kilometres.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
5,500. Yeah, exactly right.
Just give me 2,000 kilometres up there.
Yeah. We're trying to program you. We're sounding him short. But...
And the reason we want to talk to Richard today is just to talk about the motivation and the mindset around him running 5,500 kilometres across Australia, across the Great Dividing Range. So, Richard, basically want to start off, mate. How did you motivate yourself every morning to do it? I know you would have been sore, tired, and at stages just really didn't want to get up in the morning to do it. So how did you get past that barrier?
Yeah, well, I think what people have to remember is that the word motivation, if you look it up, and I'm a big fan of trying to look at words, it means to move. So if you're not motivated to do something, you actually have to move. That's the whole point of being motivated. So the first thing you have to do is just, for me, it's just a fact of just getting up and taking a step. You know, once you've done that, everybody knows that the first step's the hardest. So just to take a step, you're already motivating yourself because it means to move. But look, that's easier said than done, right? Like always, I can sit here and reel off a whole bunch of quotes and cool stuff, but it doesn't help anybody, right? Because it's tough to get out of bed. I struggled to get out of bed this morning. And I got up at like 6:45 or something, which is not normal for me. I had a big weekend. I drank beer. I ate chips. I had like a hamburger at like 10 o'clock last night. So you know, I struggle with all that stuff too. I'm not superhuman. But the trick is, is you just got to move. And the trick to motivating yourself to get up every day for 5 months and run those stupid distances is that it's a case of just getting up. That's all it was for me. And I like to use this quote of, for me, it's lacing up, and for other people that's just showing up or manning up. You know, for me, it's just to lace up in the morning. Just get up and just put the shoes on. That's all I have to do, and the rest will take care of itself. I don't have to enjoy the fact, don't get out of bed early or getting up to do something. I just need to put my shoes on. And once I've done that, I just know it gets better. And we all know it gets better, right? Like if you once you get to the gym or you get to the park to do your training or you work out, then that's the hardest part. Just leaving the house is the hard part. So for me, it's just a case of getting up each morning, sticking on the shoes, and not thinking about anything else but that. And I just know that the rest will just unfold and just happen. But again, it's easier said than done, right?
Yeah, definitely. As much as showing up, but if you can show up every day, you get the result. Out of all the days in a row that you ran, and out of doing 5,500 kilometres, did you miss a day? Did you miss a couple of days? Any inconsistencies or anything throw you off?
Yeah, that's a great word, consistency, because it is about just being consistent every day, day in, day out, and that just takes a bit of a process. You know, you just have to. See, I always say to people that you don't really need to focus on the goal, because the goal isn't the problem. Anybody can have a goal. Anybody can dream. The hard bit is getting to that goal, right? And that's the daily stuff, and that means doing a lot of crap you don't want to do most of the time. Like nearly all of it, in fact. Getting out of bed early, exercising, for me to run, to do paperwork, to make phone calls, whatever you want to call it. Most of the stuff on a day-to-day basis is boring, unmotivating, uninspiring, but it's the stuff you have to do to attain the stuff that you really, really, really want. But I still have days where I struggle. and I take days off. But I think sometimes it's about knowing where I am mentally and trying to understand my body. I think in that 5.5 month period, I think I took off probably about 5 days. So one day a month in theory. Now that might sound insane, but that is I hated that. But I had to do that for my own brain and just being tired. Just knowing my body and being ridiculously tired. Sometimes you just have to take time off, right? But I guess what people mistake when I say that kind of stuff is that they think that means if you get tired, then you can take a day off. I took a day off a month. While we're in the Great Dividing Range. So there's a fine line between being tired mentally and physically for real, or just using that as an excuse not to do something. So the case for me sometimes is that I'll get up in the morning, start to run, just by doing that consistent thing about showing up each day, and then going, actually, I'm an hour into this and I'm exhausted and I'm tired. Then I can take a day off. But I have to prove to myself that I can take a day off. I'm allowed to have a day off, because you shouldn't push past tiredness and you shouldn't push past injuries and niggles and all those things. But often, too many of us make too many excuses around that stuff and use it. I'm tired, therefore I'm going to lie in bed this morning. No, why don't you just try, and then if it still hurts and you're still tired, then you can take some time off.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
that is such a big point. And what you said before about anyone can dream, you never have a goal. And I guess it comes back to something Jordy and I talk about is what are you willing to. It's more not less about what are you willing to achieve. It's more about what are you willing to sacrifice for. And if you're willing to sacrifice getting up and getting uncomfortable and showing up every day, then you'll achieve your goal. And that's spot on. And that point about being really tired or just thinking you're tired is so clear. So on that note, I mean, were there any times when you went too far and you wanted to quit, not just rest, but you just wanted to quit in general and you wanted to stop?
Yeah, every day. and that doesn't have to even be around running, right? That can just be even today. Like I struggled today to get out of bed. Like I just could not be bothered. That's a tough thing, and that's going to happen. And you can't beat yourself up about it. But you have to think, damn, I should have just. Because it's funny, right? Something happened to me the other day. I went out for a run at about 4:30, which is a normal time for me, AM that is. And I put my shoes on. I was like, I can't. It's cold. The weather's changed. I can't be bothered. I'm tired from the week. I put my shoes on. I started running, and in my own mind, I was thinking, this is stupid. I could be in bed right now, but I'm running, right? I could be snuggled up in bed with my girlfriend. I could be just like so warm in there, and I'm thinking about all these things as I'm doing the activity. Now, the cool thing about that is that when I get home, I don't ask any more questions about how it could have been when I lied in bed. If I stayed in bed, I would have questioned myself all day why I did not get out of bed in the first place. So it's not about enjoying the process. Like you can't enjoy running 5,500 kilometers. It's impossible. This is not about me chasing my passion, because that's just ridiculous. If your passion is to run 5,500 kilometers, go and see a shrink. That's not normal, right? So you don't have to enjoy the process. You just need to do the process so you can enjoy the end result. So if you want the ripped body and you want the muscles, or you want the bling bling, or you want the Ferrari, or whatever you want, you've just got to do all those things that are crappy and horrible, and you don't have to enjoy them, because you know that you will enjoy the end result. Because I bet you guys, as fit as you are, Jordan plays pretty much professional footy. You kind of gym junkies and all that kind of stuff. You don't enjoy the process all of the time, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's certain points of the journey that require sacrifice, especially depending on how big your goal is. But I think a big thing for people is they've got this expectation of what it feels like once they achieve their goal and how hard it is to achieve their goal. But there's a big mismatch between what they think they need to do to achieve that goal and what's actually required. And that just leaves them really disappointed with the end result, because it's actually hard work. It actually requires sweat, getting up early, as you said, lacing up, showing up consistently to achieve that goal, but they're not prepared to put that amount of work into the journey to achieve that outcome that they want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the work thing, right? That's all it comes down to. Like you can make any goal, right? You can have a small goal or massive goal, but what you have to do is you have to work backwards and chunk it down into what you can do in a day, right? So if you want to be like the world's best bodybuilder, right? That's a feasible goal, but you can't have it in a week's time because it's just impossible, right? No matter how many steroids you put into yourself, you ain't doing it in a week. But if you look and go, okay, this realistically might take me 5 years. Okay, what do I need to do consistently, daily for 5 years? That's what you have to look back at that. And when you look at that and go, wow, I have to eat all that food, I have to train that hard, I have to go to bed for 5 years every single day, then you sometimes go, okay, this is not a goal that I want. Because I can't do that every day for 5 years. If you're willing to do it every day for 5 years, then you've got a fairly good chance of getting there. So for me, like, I don't look at the end result on these projects. Like, I never looked at 5,500 kilometers. What I did is I looked at 5,000 kilometers at the start, and then I chunked it up and went, okay, I can run a marathon or 2 marathons a day. That's achievable for me. I think I can do that. And that's what I committed to. Just running those distances day in, day out. Because if I look at the 5,500 kilometers, I'm like, whoa, that's so overwhelming. Like, I've got no hope to do that. But what I did is just broke it down and went, this is what I can do each day. I'm able to do that each day.
And that's still
if you think you can't do, sorry?
That's still insane. For most people going, no, I definitely couldn't do 2 marathons a day. But
no, you could have, but it's all relative, right? Yeah. It's all relative. When I work a lot with salespeople, and they have these huge goals. They want to reach a quote of $1 million in real estate, whatever. You go, okay, what's that take? What's it take now to earn $500,000 a year? And they say this. It's okay, so you need to double that each day. Is that feasible? They go, yeah, I could do that in a day, but I don't want to do that in a day. Well, there you go then. You're never going to get that end result because you can't commit to doing that each and every single day. You've gone quiet on me. What happened?
You're talking about your.
I think it's a little bit delayed.
You're talking about your struggles and how obviously running 5,500 kilometers is going to have its struggles, but not necessarily with that particular. You've done with that particular event. Like, you've done some crazy stuff. What's been one of your biggest struggles or challenges relating to your exercise or anything in your life, and how did you get through that point in your life?
I reckon the hardest thing for me, even today still, is why I do what I do. And I've sat down with a whole bunch of psychological experts. Most people think that's quite fitting, but all these psychological experts nationally, like top people in their field, I was originally sat down with them to figure out why. And I think it's an answer, it's something you can't really answer, at least for me anyway. Because it chops and changes daily, weekly, monthly, depending on what's happening in my life and where I want to kind of go. So I've never really understood why I do it. And that used to be a huge challenge for me until I just let go of it and go, who cares why? Maybe how is a better way to look at it. How have I been able to do this stuff? And when you look at the process, and that's what we've been talking about, right, is putting a process in place. You go, that's how I've done it. Have a process. Every single day, I just follow this format, and it gets me to the end result. I mean, my why is to stretch myself, be bigger than I ever wanted or ever thought I could be. There's a massive amount of ego thrown in there, I'll be honest. There's a whole bunch of different reasons why, right? It's not like, because I want to save the planet and free willy or whatever. It's more, I have my bigger vision and my bigger picture, but trying to figure out why was always a struggle. So I've just let go of that. It doesn't matter why. And I think when people ask me why, it's just because they're trying to figure it out for themselves. They don't really care why I do it. They want to try and figure out why they want to do stuff and if they can tap into that. But now it's just about just following that process.
Yeah. So if we go, well, if we go one step further in that, so obviously you've got that process to follow, and a lot of people would say, just in terms of willpower and mental strength, they'd say, I just can't. I know I'm supposed to do that process each day, but I can't do it. So, for example, people trying to lose weight, I know I'm supposed to exercise each day. I know I'm supposed to lace up and show up. I know I'm supposed to eat healthy, but I can't do it. And obviously that's negative language in their head, but how do you think you push through and get that kind of mental edge, that mental toughness to stick to the process each day? So, I mean, how do you do that rather than why?
Because I think once so it's hard, right? Like I'm not going to say to people it's easy. That is the hardest part, is doing it, right? The doing the bit is the hardest thing ever. But I think it's you form habits, I think. Like if you just get out of bed, just commit to standing up when the alarm clock goes off. Switching the alarm clock off and standing up, that's all you have to commit to. I don't care if you get back into bed after that, but generally once you stand up, you ain't going to get back into bed because you're up. I forgot where I was going with this.
Habits and process.
Habits and processes, yeah. But what happens is it just kind of form a habit. You end up getting up early, and then what happens is you end up waking up at that time and getting out of bed on a Sunday, even when you've got a hangover. Like it just becomes this habit where you get up and stuff. So for me, it's about forming kind of these habits by doing stuff. But what happens is when you do that is that you end up kind of inspiring yourself, if that makes sense. In fact, I wrote some notes on something this morning I was working on with some clients about how, just bear with me a sec. Yeah, this whole thing around, it's kind of like, I get into a state when I'm doing something every day. I go, wow, I did that yesterday. It's a tick on my thing. Wow, I did that. Oh, and I did that. Oh, I did that in 3 days in a row. Wow, I did that for a week. That gives you a massive amount of like power, and passion, and you get excited about that. And that in itself kind of then just has that snowball effect. You roll a snowball and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. If you've been to the snow. I know some Australians haven't. But when you get a snowball and you roll it, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it gets so big that you can't push it anymore. That's what you want to form. Because once you can't push it anymore, it's so big that it's just grounded, right? It's like a big foundation. It ain't going anywhere. And then it just happens all the time. Just keeps happening all the time. And I think that's when you can start to really kind of inspire yourself. You be kind of influential. It gives you massive insight into yourself and the things you can achieve. It's just a case of doing that in every area. Just building enough of a foundation to just become something that you just do. Doesn't mean it's going to happen all of the time, like this morning for me. But it gives you that big snowball that you can't push. Like it's just there. It's just going to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And you make so many good points in there. And that's exactly what we encourage our clients to do, is to create all those healthy habits, because if you can create those healthy habits and continue them and create that lifestyle, and a lifestyle of balance, which, as you said before, you're trying to look at it as something you can sustain over 5 years. So if you can say every day, oh yeah, I'm going to do that exercise, and keep making that a habit every morning or every night after work, and continue that over 5 years, you're going to reach your goal. So habits are so crucial. In terms of our clients and the people that we train, what advice do you have for them? A lot of them are trying to lose weight, build muscle, get more toned. Based on your experience, what advice can you give to them to continue to show up and lace up and do the things that are going to help them reach their goals?
Well, we can go back to the question before, even with trying to form that habit. You don't have to enjoy it. Like just because of it becomes a habit and becomes this huge snowball doesn't mean you have to enjoy it. Like, I think people have. Yeah, but I think people get into this headspace where they think that it's going to become a time where they just can't wait to get out the door and go and do their workout. They can't wait to have their salad at lunchtime. They can't wait not to eat junk food and that. Like, that ain't going to happen. Like, you have to be honest with yourself sometimes. Like, everybody loves an ice cream. Everyone likes to have a few drinks now and again. You're always going to struggle. But again, it's just again trying to have that habit and just doing it. It's just doing it regardless, you know. And if you want to achieve weight loss, get fitter, have more energy, you just have to do the things that you don't want to do. It's that easy. Like, it's that easy. It's sometimes it's doing this. Well, not it's always doing the things you don't want to do, so you can have the things that you want. That's the biggest lesson for me. Because I never enjoyed one of those days. Like running 5,500 kilometers, I don't remember. I enjoyed the last day because I finished. I enjoyed the first day. Every other day was always going to be a struggle, and I knew that. You know, I knew it was going to be a huge challenge. And I think people just need to have a bit of an understanding of what these things take, and understand that it isn't going to be easy, and understand that it's probably going to hurt physically and mentally. There's going to be days when you can't be bothered, like most days, when you don't want to do stuff. You know, you're just going to have this. Just know it's going to be challenging. And the cool thing about knowing that it's going to be challenging is that then you can prepare for those challenges. Like if you know that you're going to get halfway through the week and then can't get out of bed, then what are you going to put in place so you do get out of bed?
Yeah. If
you know that when it comes to Friday you want to eat ice cream, what are you going to do to make sure you don't eat ice cream on a Friday? So you can map out half of your journey because you know most of the challenges that are going to come. And that doesn't matter if it's in fitness or in life or in your work. You know the challenges that are going to come up. So you can prepare for those in advance, and that gives you a head start before they even come along, all those challenges. And then of course there's going to be the ones that you're not prepared for, but you almost are half prepared for them because you're going to prepare for the ones that you know are coming. Yeah.
That's unbelievable. I think that advice is that's a lot different to what most people get when they're getting motivation and fitspiration to exercise and train. All you hear about is the reward and how good it's going to be and how good you're going to feel, which you do get, but you've got to understand what sacrifice you'll need to make to get there. And if you can ask yourself, what am I willing to sacrifice and what pain am I willing to go through and what challenges am I willing to go through to get that reward? And if you're realistic about it, like you're saying, if every day you're willing to do that, then the rewards will come.
Yeah, and boys, I reckon that's a perfect place to leave it and finish up, Richard. Is there any way people can contact you? How can people contact you if they want to find out more about what you do and all that?
Yeah, just jump on the website, which is richardbowles.com.au. Bowles is like Camilla Parker Bowles, though I'm not royal. At least I don't think I am. Which is BOWLES. So richardbowles.com.au. You can contact me. All the social platforms are on there and stuff. I'd love to hear some questions from people. Love answering questions. I often knock up some videos and just answer people that way. And sometimes do that from even out in the wilderness. So you never know, if you ask a question, you might get a response from the middle of the mountain ranges of Australia. Or even the world.
Thanks, Richard. We really appreciate your time, mate, jumping on and having a chat with us.
No worries, guys. Appreciate it.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, everyone.